Hi, I'm Stephanie and I'm from the ADHD Advocate, and we are well into our ADHD Awareness Month celebrations, live sessions. And this week, we're doing academic success. Yesterday, we spoke about the challenges for ADHDers in education, why it's so difficult for them to succeed, particularly when there's not that ADHD awareness there. In schools, and also just the way that the education is unfortunately delivered is not very ADHD friendly. It's not very multisensory. If ADHDers can't access it, if they can't see it, kind of hear it, feel it, it's much harder to connect with, particularly if they can't see the relevance. So if they feel that there's no point in doing something, that they can't see that they'll ever use that thing in future, then it's really hard for them to engage. And that's why a lot of ADHDers struggle as well just to rote learn, because it's like, what's the point? ADHDers very much need to kind of see the connections with everything else. Having kind of forming associations is actually one of the ADHD strengths. And if it's just something just isolated, it's very hard for an ADHD just to kind of keep that in mind. So kind of that context is really important. And often in education, that is sometimes sadly lacking, and it's just expected to be learned, and it's not going to be. So we understand that at the ADHD Advocate, and we do our part to try and raise awareness and educate schools and parents, but as well as the kids themselves, because really it does come down to the ADHD's willingness, their willingness to learn. They've got to want it, because remember, the fuel for an ADHD brain is authentic interest. So once they're interested, authentically interested in, say, the subject, or maybe the outcome that they're going to achieve through doing the work at school, then that's where they're going to be able to engage, where their brain will turn on and they'll be able to do the work. And so in some cases, particularly if there is an authentic interest in certain subjects, they're gonna kill it, basically. They're gonna do really, really well. But it's important that that hook is there, because these children have got an interest-based nervous system, not an importance-based nervous system. So we have a bit of a study game plan at the ADHD Advocate, and we've also got a course that's going to be made available very soon for academic success, GCSEs, A-levels, and university. We've got a workbook and everything that we'll provide details of very soon. But we've got a bit of a game plan, and that's something we're going to share as well, I think, in the next post. But the main thing where we've got to start with, it's the why, it's the reason. ADHDers need compelling reasons to do things. Now, it's funny when we coach our students and we ask them, so what are you going to do? What are you going to do once you get these marks that you want to achieve? And they just say, oh, go to a good university. And then you ask them, okay, right. And then what? What are you going to do at university? And they may actually know, and they may say, I'm going to do literature or something like that. And then you ask them, okay, right. And then after that, what are you going to do? What are you going to do with that degree? And often they've got no idea. But all they've told themselves is they must get the really good marks. Now, unfortunately, that's not usually going to be compelling enough for them to overcome the distractions that they're facing every day. Definitely, this generation has a lot more difficulties in terms of the amount of distractions and how easy it is to get that stimulation that they need through iPhones and so forth, that it is really hard for them to stay motivated, to keep their eye on their prize, or rather, as we say here at the ADHD Advocate, keep your eye on your why. So that's actually the first thing that we do with our students, is to try and help them identify what their why is, and really kind of connect with it. Now, that's not always possible, obviously, with our uni students in particular. Quite often we get straight down into it because, they've got a dissertation to write, or they've got exams coming up, and we basically have to go straight into the plan. This is not something that ADHDers do very well. Some ADHDers do make it a bit of a obsession, the planning, but then when it comes to executing the plan, they don't do so well. we've found, and that's where the body double really comes into the fore here. And this is what we do at the ADHD Advocate, our coaches, we body double, we partner with our students, because often when they feel as if there's not that partner, that accountability there, they do tend to fall by the wayside, particularly at university with all those distractions and parties. So being able to check in with them, which we sometimes do more than once a week, we break up like a session to do that sometimes, and just keep them on track, because otherwise, unfortunately, they do fall off track. But we also help them create a plan for their, their kind of model week, a plan for, like, say, exam period, and we kind of sketch everything out and make sure that we keep these deadlines in sight and in mind for them. What we also do that I found really helpful for prepping ADHDers for success is to look at all their subjects. We've got these exercises we do this in the course as well. And we go through each subject, and there's like a list of questions that we go through, just again, so they can get really clear about where they're at and what more they need to do. So they're prioritizing, again, another huge challenge for ADHDers, but they're prioritizing the right things. So it's very effective coaching for ADHD students. And if you'd like to know more, then do reach out to us, our website, www.theadhdadvocate.com, particularly if you want to know more about our course. And we will definitely share those details with you. So I think tomorrow we are looking at leaning on the law, and I'll be joined by Megan, one of our US coaches, and we're going to do a little discussion around the laws applicable in the UK and the US when it comes to leaning on the law to support your ADHD in education, and just to kind of compare, contrast, and more helpfully give anyone that's looking to maybe lean on the law, signpost them in the right direction. So do join us for that tomorrow as well. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.